afternoon, everyone. Happy rainy, cold Tuesday. I think this is the coldest Tuesday that we have had for a hot minute. It's really lovely to have some rain, so I welcome it. Thank you all for tuning in to K4CO Radio. For those of you that are listening on the app, thank you so much for listening. We have an amazing interview, so appreciate you tuning in to your midday Tuesday. And for those of you that want to see our beautiful faces, I highly recommend you do so because we have a gorgeous person in studio today. So definitely tune in on social media. We are live on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and we very much welcome any respectful comments and questions that you have because we love engaging with our community. Before we go, I wanted to make sure that this is read. So K4CO Radio interviews candidates who hold or aspire to hold elected positions. K4CO Radio does not endorse nor contribute to any political candidates or political parties. We welcome our audience to ask any questions in the comments section. Any questions or statements with the purpose to attack, insult, or berate any person or group of people will be deleted. So we highly recommend people getting involved, but please be kind. We love everyone that comes in here. We welcome voices, so definitely be there. So without further ado, this is a very special friend of mine on a personal note. I've gotten to know this lovely woman. I have Christine Sweetland in here, who is running for the mayor of the City of Centennial.
Yay!
Yay!
I know. I'm so glad to see you and to be here. Yeah. So thank you for having me.
Of course. I know. I was trying to think how far back I've actually known you. I think it's been several years now.
Yes. Yeah.
And I've loved our conversations. You're so involved in community. And I see you at ribbon cuttings and events and chambers and just you're all over the place. So
I try to be.
I mean, it's amazing. And it's a full-time job sometimes just to be out in the public all the time.
Right. Yeah. But it's fun because this is why I love doing it, right? Is getting to meet people, hearing their stories, getting to see new things that are happening in our city that I wouldn't know about unless I went to those things. So I love doing it.
Completely. I totally agree. Being an outsider looking in, I get to really learn about my state. And especially, we at K4CO Radio, our studios here in Centennial. Mm-hmm. We live in Centennial. So, it's good to know because we work. Our kids go to school here. It's where we live. So right. I appreciate the
Centennial
education
blue.
piece. I am.
You're wearing Centennial blue today.
I love that I did that on purpose. I wish I was that coordinated for a rainy Tuesday. I was so not, but maybe you were on my mind. I'm like, I need a Centennial blue today. Speaking of blue, for those of you that have your computer or your phone in front of you, go to Sweetland for Centennial, and it's spelled out FOR, centennial.com. And you can find out more about her, all the issues, endorsements, how she's in the community, and more. So again, it's sweetland4centennial.com. And we'll go a little bit. We're going to unpack, of course, the race. There's so much to unravel because it's coming up really soon.
Really soon.
The
Very
end is
soon.
So near.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. I bet, it's like the fourth quarter. Well, it's right there.
It makes me nervous to think about all the things we still need to do, like the 20,000 doors we still need to knock. But I've been doing this for so long that it's like, okay, we're almost at the end, right? You can do anything for the next 40 some odd days.
Right, exactly. So for those of you, I want to kind of start at the beginning, if that's okay.
Yeah.
To where are you from? And you've been involved in city council for a long time. So why don't you start kind of where you're from and how you got involved in politics?
Okay, sure. So I grew up here in Denver. We moved when I was in second grade. And according to the Colorado History Museum, if you had no say in moving to Colorado, then you can claim to be a native. So when you're 7 years old, you have no say. So I'm claiming to be a native. The Colorado History Museum says that I can. So grew up here. We lived in Southeast Denver, right on the Highline Canal. I always say we rode our bikes either to Bible Park to play tennis or to Cook Park to go swimming. So it was great, right? Loved living here. And I was the only one that stayed. I have two sisters. One went to the West Coast and one went to the East Coast. And my parents were here. So, and then, I started working, went to school, and started in telecommunications. Did that for 15 years. I started at Cellular One, which became AT&T Wireless. So back in the day, the big brick phones, that was one of the benefits we got, is that we could carry around a cell phone. So when you're 20, in your 20s, carrying around a cell phone, that was really exciting.
It didn't fit in your pocket back in those
No,
days.
it did not.
Yeah,
No.
I do remember those. They were bulky, very cool though.
Right,
Because it was the first time, you know,
Yes,
especially
yes.
in the car. You have this big honking thing. Oh yeah, that's what it does.
My sister's 5 years younger than me, and she remembers that I let her use my car for like homecoming or prom because my cell phone was in my car. Nice. And she just thought I was the coolest sister because of that, which I don't even remember, but I'm like, okay, I'll take it.
Nice, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good memory.
Worked, and then I was saying to you earlier, today is my 25th wedding anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you very much. So my husband and I, he will tell a different story, but the story that is fit for radio. My husband's British.
We're not regulated by the FCC. You can get as crazy or as not crazy as you would like.
Yeah. So my husband is British, and so the team that he follows is Derby County, and they came and played the U.S. national team at Mile High Stadium. And him and his buddy had never been to the U.S., and they're like, let's follow our team. Let's go check it out. So they came to Denver, and then they went on to Chicago. And so we met when they were playing here. And I like to say that we met at the game, and he might tell you where we actually met at the bar after, but that's okay.
Sounds great. All's good.
And so we spent some time together while he was here, and then he moved back. He went back to England, and so we had like a long distance romance, right? Where there wasn't texting, so it was emails back and forth and phone calls. And I went to visit him in October. Spent 2 weeks out there. Never been to England. We also went to Scotland, and at the end of that trip, he asked me to marry him. And then in February, I was going back out just to visit him. And a friend said, well, because we were looking at fiance visas, and they said, if you get married there, then it's a lot easier for him to get the immigration paperwork. Mm-hmm. So we actually got married after we saw each other face to face 18 days.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And now 25 years later, but our church wedding was September 24th.
That is amazing.
So, I know, right? So I joke that we were the original 90-day fiance.
That is incredible. You must know the secret sauce. I mean, what has kept you together for 25 years?
Here's the thing is we were both a little bit older, right? When we got married. And he was just turning 30. No, I guess he wasn't even 30 yet. And I was in my early 30s. But we truly are good partners, right? We really lift each other up. We work well together. And we just, we just understand that it takes both of us working in tandem in order to make things happen, right? So he is truly my biggest cheerleader. And I think that if you are sitting next to Andy Sweetland at any dinner party, you have the best seat in the house because he is funny, he is sarcastic, and he's just amazing. So, So we've 25 years, you go through ups and downs. Both sets of our parents have passed away. That's been really hard. Raising kids, trying to get everything. I started my own business. He was very supportive of that. So, it's been fun. It's been really fun. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, fast forward a little. That's amazing. Yeah, you sound so just in love and like
he's
you're
such
still
a
on
great
the
guy.
honeymoon ride 25
well, I don't
years
know about
later.
That.
Well, if you say you have the best seat in the house, I mean, man, you just beam. Andy, I hope you're watching this because my goodness. Yeah.
I know we are not like the mushy people. We're not that at all. So he's probably really embarrassed if he's watching this right now.
That's amazing. Well, it's important, the family values. At least that's an important thing to me.
Right. Yes.
So, okay, so you started your own business.
Yes.
And were you involved in politics? I'm kind of curious when that set in.
So, no desire to be in politics whatsoever. I have always been active in the community. I have always volunteered in the community. Even before I got married and had kids, I volunteered at different things. And then once we had the kids and the neighborhood that we live in, I was very involved in their schools, in their sports teams. I was the neighborhood association president. So just really wanting to do what I could to make our community better.
Right.
Right. And so then as my boys got older, they just don't need you as much, right? They're driving. One was in college, the other in high school, and they just don't need you. And I thought, well, what else can I do to give back to the community, maybe in a bigger way? And somebody suggested that I look at running for city council. And really, I have been serving on city council for 6 years. I'm honored to do it. It truly is the best job in the world. Like, I really enjoy working with people, getting to meet people, and just hearing, like, we just live in a really great city. So that makes it so much easier too. You know, we were just, U.S. News and World Reports just ranked Centennial the best place to live in Colorado. And so, yeah, I just love doing it. Yeah.
So you've been on for 6 years, and you are District 2.
District 2,
Okay.
yes.
Does that have... I know Centennial to me is kind of funky.
I should have brought the map.
It's really
Yes.
long and squinchy.
Yes.
Because it goes all the way, obviously, to Centennial Airport, and then even further past
Yeah,
it.
it goes to almost E470 to the east.
Okay.
Broadway to the west. So it's very long.
It's long, right.
And then really thin in between. And then you go through different cities in between there as well. But so District 2 is basically University, Dry Creek to Arapahoe until you get to Colorado Boulevard. Then it goes to Orchard all the way to Quebec.
Okay.
And then there's a little squiggly over by the Safeway.
Okay, I gotcha. It is, I mean, I'm a native as well.
Right.
And I never know what city I'm in.
Right.
To be totally fair. I usually, because it used to be Fort Collins, Denver, Springs.
Right.
And now, Denver, they have all these different cities. And even like my postal, code is, I don't know, am I in Greenwood Village? Am I in Centennial? I don't know. Am I in Denver? Am I in Inglewood? So thank you for explaining that, especially those that are like, please vote. Get out there, have an opinion, have a voice.
Right.
For those of you that live in Colorado, anywhere, please have a voice.
Right. Well, and you'll see like the street signs. So Centennial has blue street signs. So that's how you know you're in Centennial.
Okay.
Which is really great. But right where you guys are, this side of the street is Centennial. The other side of the street is Greenwood Village. So you'll see blue and green street signs. So that's the way to know where you are.
Blue is Centennial. Thank you. I
Yes.
also never knew that.
Yeah. And so I would just say
Centennial blue.
60% of our sales tax or 60% of our revenues come from sales tax. So spend your money where the blue signs are.
Blue signs, I love it. Well, we at K4CO definitely, we support small to medium-sized businesses.
Right.
That's our entire
so
forte.
important.
Yes.
So important. Yes.
Why is the city of Centennial to you important? Either as a mom, a business owner, while you're running?
Right. Well, I mean, because we are, the number one city to live in. But when Andy and I were looking at where we wanted to raise our kids, the house that we found in Centennial, it felt like the neighborhood that we grew up in, right? The mature landscaping, great parks, trail systems. We did not know at the time, but Centennial has 2 of the best school districts in Colorado with Cherry Creek and Littleton Public Schools. So that was an added bonus that we didn't even know about. And so I just think that people really, there's a sense of community here. People want to be here. And it's so fun to see how many people grew up in Centennial that are now raising their kids. We have somebody just down the street from us. He's in the same neighborhood he grew up in because he's like, this is the great place. And it's that sense of community. Centennial was founded with a grassroots effort. So people are very invested in this city. And I just think it shines through. Yeah.
Oh, I totally agree. Community. I love the community aspect of it too. Well, so I wanted to focus a little bit, and we can go in any direction that you want, but I think there are some things that you really highlight, at least for who you are. And what you're involved in too. I wanted to touch on that first. So you're a member of Centennial Housing Working Group, correct?
Yes.
Centennial Audit and Budget Committees and Littleton Public Schools Foundation.
Yes.
So you're back to how we started. You have been very involved in the community on a personal level. It's so interesting that you said politics kind of never were there, but that's for me, what politics are is being involved and caring about your city.
Right.
So maybe that was something kind of in the back
Right.
already.
Yeah.
A kind of a predisposed notion.
Right. I mean, I guess being on your neighborhood association board, if you think about it, that is like a small political group, if you will. And so, yeah, I guess you're right? That it's making sure that your community is better, and definitely at the local level, right? At these municipal level, that's what we're talking about. There's no aisles that we're crossing. We're all just sitting next to each other, trying to do what's best for Centennial, and that's what I really love about it. Is we might come with different backgrounds and different perspectives, but we all need to come together and go, okay, what is truly best for our city? Yeah.
Completely. No, it's I have this conversation almost daily now, to not be polarized, right?
Right.
To come in and have a respectful conversation, whatever side of the aisle you're on.
Right.
Is come at this with love, respect, consideration, compassion.
Right.
And truly it's a conversation, not a confrontational moment. So,
Right.
and I
Right.
totally agree.
Yeah.
I'm curious, so in District 2 and just on City Council, what are your current roles being on City Council? And how would that go towards becoming
Being
so mayor? Right?
when you're on city council, the mayor does appoint you to different committees and boards that to participate in. So a few years ago, I was the city council rep for South Metro Chamber Board, and now Mike Sutherland is. Currently, the boards that I serve on includes SEMSWA, which is the Stormwater Board, which on a day like today when it's raining, stormwater is very important, and making sure that new developments know how to get rid of stormwater as quickly as they can. But so that's been fascinating. That's a board I always say I need to bring an 8th grade science book in when I sit on those board meetings, because they're like talking about streams and reaches and I'm like, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Trajectory, flow.
So on that one, I'm also on the Highline Canal Collaborative, and I don't know if you know this, but Denver Water started the Highline Canal, and they used to bring water through the Highline Canal. That's how people got their water, and then they figured out better ways to do it. But they still had a couple people that got their water that way, and so the Highline Canal Conservancy kind of worked with Denver Water and said, how do we have this great amenity of 71 miles through our city, through the entire metro area? How do we maintain it going forward? And so the wonderful work at the Conservancy, Arapahoe County just recently purchased their miles from Denver Water. And then Douglas County is working on that, and Denver's working on that, and Arapahoe County is managing the Adams County part of it. So this way now it has a conservation easement, so it will be a recreational amenity for years to come. Because Denver Water could have easily sold it to the highest bidder and done something. But for those of us who love the Highline Canal and appreciate it, I'm so glad that Arapahoe County is, taking over the majority of it. So working on that working group is really like, what does this look like going forward? It's been like this for 100 and some odd years, and now Arapahoe County has owned it for a year. There's going to be some growing pains with that, of course, but how can we all work together? Cherry Hills Village, Greenwood Village, Littleton, Centennial, obviously. How can we all work together to make sure that the Highland Canal and Aurora works for everybody, right? And is a wonderful amenity. So I love being on that board. And let's see, what other ones do I serve on? I work with South Suburban Parks and Rec. They just got a new director, so I'm excited to meet him and see what he will do on that. And I'm sure there's others that I just can't think of right now. But it's nice. It's fun to be a part of it, to learn new things. And so every year we get to be on different boards. National League of Cities, I'm on the Women in Municipal Government Board. So it's kind of fun to hear what other city leaders are doing. And then the Littleton Public School Foundation Board, that's really outside of council.
Okay.
But my kids got such an amazing education at Littleton Public Schools. And now, since they both have graduated, the foundation raises money so that teachers and students can do things that their budgets just can't afford for them to do. So if I can give back in that way, I'm all in. So I've been on that board. This is now my second year, and I just love it. It's a great board to be on.
Wow, I didn't know a lot of that, actually.
Yeah, I know.
I know.
That was a lot of data dump.
No,
Sorry.
that's amazing. That's why truly I love being educated. I mean, because I know the Highline Canal. I mean, I ran on that since I was a little kiddo. And, I don't know the history of it. And, I think it's amazing to find out about the city of Centennial and Arapahoe County. I just read that Arapahoe County is older than the state of Colorado.
Yeah.
Which I never knew until I started investigating, like, what's going on in this political atmosphere here.
Right.
How can a county be older than Colorado?
I know. It's crazy, isn't it?
Here we are. We were part of, I think, Kansas territory beforehand, if memory serves right. But so, hopefully some of that will stick in there. I know. So you spent 6 years, and that's interesting. So your boards can kind of change and your responsibilities change. It sounds like every year.
Yes.
And
the biggest one, so I'm also on DRCOG, which is the Denver Regional Council of Governments. Okay. And Tammy Maurer currently serves as the main person. I'm the alternate. Tammy is term limited this year, and she has a transportation background. So DRCOG is basically the way that we get our transportation grant dollars, right? So that board is anybody from Boulder out to Georgetown, all the way down to Castle Pines, Castle Rock, Parker. And so everybody meets together to determine which transportation projects we're going to work on, and everybody has equal voice in that room. And so while Tammy is the main person, I'm the alternate. So I've been listening into those meetings so that I can step on in. But that's a big, important role, just because that's a lot of infrastructure money coming into our cities and making sure that, and Tammy has done a great job in making sure Centennial gets a lot of those infrastructure dollars and projects. And so I want to continue to be a big voice in that too.
Nice. Yeah. You're very involved in many different aspects of the state and definitely the city of Centennial. For those of you just joining, thank you for popping on. If you want to follow along, go to sweetlandforcentennial.com. We have Christine Sweetland here with us. And please, if you have questions or comments, throw them in the social media on Facebook, LinkedIn. That's why we're here, to help educate and inform. And for those of you that don't know if you're registered to vote or want to get registered, you can actually go to Christine's website and register right there. Highly recommend definitely having a voice. I am such a component of please having a voice.
So here's the figures and I'm going to put on my glasses because I want to make sure I get them right. Okay. So in the 2024 general election, which is presidential election in Centennial, 80.3% of people voted.
Okay.
Amazing, right? Mm-hmm. In the 2023 municipal election, which is the one where I was reelected, 45.2%.
Less than half. That's
right.
That's rough.
In the 2022 general, which was when we elected we reelected Governor Polis. I think that was on that election. 65% of people voted. Okay. And in the 2021 municipal, 39.5%.
That is so interesting.
Right? And the municipal elections, I want to make sure I have those facts specifically. Municipal elections, they matter the most to you, right? Mm-hmm. These are, the streets that you drive on, making sure that you have a good, strong economy in the city that you live, making sure you feel safe in the city that you live. Mm-hmm. And so the ballot will be mailed to you mid-October, like it always is, and you have until Tuesday, November 4th, before 7 p.m. to drop it off or to mail it or to go in person and vote. It's the same exact. So if you were able to vote, if the 84% of you were able to vote last year, I'm expecting you to vote this year as well.
Completely. I totally
Right?
agree.
It's so important.
It is. Have a voice.
And especially because younger kids don't vote because they're like, it's municipal, I don't care. I only see the ads and the commercials. But here's the thing, and this is what I tell my kids and their friends, like, I'm going to be the decision maker for what this city looks like in 20 years. So don't you want me to have a say in the city where you're going to come back to and raise your children? Because I think that's really important.
I agree.
Yeah. So I really hope that we see a lot more voter turnout.
I do too. That is
Yes.
that is my soapbox that I usually end up on in these interviews, no
Right.
matter if it's a political interview or not.
Right.
But it really is to have a voice. And
Right.
like you said, like I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, we had an interview last night that also was on the political frame, and we talked about safety. And I don't think it ever matters to me what side of the aisle you're on. We all want to be safe.
Right.
We want ourselves to be safe when we go to work and our kids when they go to school. We don't want to have anything happen. I mean, that is just, I hope that can be, again, a conversation that we're embracing as
Right.
human beings.
Right.
That we care about one another no matter
Exactly.
what. So
And
it's
Centennial is one of the safest cities to live
is.
in. And it's really interesting because, we are knocking on doors and calling people, asking them about what local issues matter to them. And people will say, I feel very safe, right? I'm not worried about property crime. I am worried about when I get on the street, right? That people are driving too fast. And so we in Centennial, we partner with the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office. They're our police force, and they do an amazing job for us. And a couple years ago, we did increase our traffic patrol to 2 more officers out on the streets because we do want to make sure that every user on our roads, whether you're in a car, a bike, walking, that you have a safe way to get where you're going, and especially for our kids, right? We want to make sure they have safe routes to school. So Dr. Cog gave us a grant at the City of Centennial. So we're actually partnering with both school districts, Littleton Public Schools and Cherry Creek, to make sure that we're looking at those routes to school and making sure that kids know how to get there safely. Yeah.
Well, we've definitely talked about safety. What are the I mean, I think you've answered this, but maybe to be more poignant about what made you want to go from city council to really run for mayor.
To run for mayor.
Is there something that kind of sparked in your mind to say, boy, I'm either really passionate about this or I see a need that needs to be fixed? What are some of those issues that you have seen?
I have really enjoyed being on city council. And so, I feel like I'm a servant leader. I work really well together. I love the collaboration. And so as mayor, I think we're a very well-run city. It's not like I'm coming in and saying, we need to change everything. However, I'm a small business owner, and I know that we can uplift the small businesses in our community and probably do more in that space than we're doing today. As we both know, being small business owners ourselves, that if we do well, the city does well, right? And there are so many fun, unique places in Centennial to eat, shop, and play. And we just need to highlight those. So that's one of the things that I want to do as mayor is really look at that.
Okay.
And then housing. As an appraiser, I see how expensive it is just throughout the metro area. And so I think I bring some unique perspective to the housing conversation. And so as mayor, we've done a lot of really good work in Centennial. But as mayor, I want to continue the work that we've already started. We need a pathway for home ownership, which we're really missing out on right now. And so I want to come up with some innovative ideas to figure out how we can do a pathway to home ownership for folks. And then what I'm hearing from people is that those of us who have lived in this community for a really long time and we want to downsize, there's no place to go. And so I want to make sure that when we're talking about housing, we're really talking about a mix of housing for everyone. And especially for those who started our city and want to stay here. We know the grocery store, our friends are here, right? We have our favorite restaurant. So the Mayor Pico's term limited. And when I ran for re-election in 2023, with 4 names on the ballot, I got 64% of the vote. But in my neighborhood, the people that know me best, I got 80% of the vote. And so that was kind of the catalyst to say, the people that know me best know I want what's best for Centennial, whether they're Republican, Independent, or Democrat. They know that I want what's best for Centennial. And that's what led me to decide that I wanted to run for mayor.
Oh, I love that. Well, you had mentioned there are other candidates, of course, and but there's and I honestly don't know them. I'll be totally frank. So there's Walter James Bennett Rutledge. Am I saying that right? And then Donald Sheehan. So it's the three of you that are running.
Right.
And is Walter independent? And I apologize for my I don't know.
Yeah. So city council races are nonpartisan. So there will be no designation
Thank you.
next to anybody's name, as it should be, because as I said,
great.
we don't reach across the aisle. We just sit next to each other.
Completely.
So Bennett Rutledge, he goes by Bennett.
Okay.
He has been a longtime resident in Centennial, and we just had a forum last night. I'm not going to, tell you everything that he's running on, but one of his biggest issue is making sure that people have a choice on the ballot. He wants to make sure that there are no uncontested races, and so that's why. And so I love the fact that he really enjoys the race of putting himself out there and willing to do that. So yes, so he is running, and then Don Sheehan and I have both served together for the last 6 years. He lives on the east side of Centennial. I live more on the west side. A very nice guy. I think we have differing viewpoints. And, part of the things that I'm running on is, as a mom, I know how expensive it is to raise kids in our city. As a small business owner, I know, how scary it is, right? Not only to start a business, but to grow a business. So those are the things that I bring to the table,
right.
And working collaboratively with everybody.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, thank you for making that point completely. You bring up so many things, and it is, again, going back to being a native here in Colorado, it is getting expensive across the board. Everywhere in Colorado, we just see prices going up substantially. I was curious if you wanted to go into a little more about the housing plan that you see, because the influx, and again, you are the expert in this field, there are so many people coming in, we're running out of space to put them.
Right.
So is this coming down to when it's more affordable housing? What does that look like? Where are they going to go?
Right.
Is this to decrease the cost of the building materials so it's more affordable entry point? Like, what does that kind of look like?
Right. Well, and I think it's a combination of a lot of things, but supply is the biggest factor, right? And so I always say Centennial is a community of neighborhoods, and we need more neighborhoods. So we have places that are underutilized right now that we can start utilizing. And a perfect example is go up to Yosemite and Arapahoe Road, and then go all the way down Yosemite to IKEA. And what you have there is a bunch of 1960s office buildings. A lot of them are empty. And so we've rezoned that for mixed use, and we're calling it Midtown Centennial. And so we've put a lot of time and effort into what do we want that to look like? Because Centennial doesn't have a downtown. So it will be our downtown Centennial. It will be walking to light rail. It'll be walkable to coffee. So really, it'll be housing. It'll be employment centers, all of that together. So what we did, which is very unique for cities to do, is our planners went out and they designed what they wanted there. And then when we were talking about it, I said, well, Centennial's known for our parks and trails, so we need to put that on the map as well. So if we're going to have walkable areas, we need to make sure our new neighborhoods look like our old neighborhoods do, right? So there needs to be parks and trail system. So that's now on the plan as well. And so now the development community knows exactly what we want in every single spot. So all they have to do is they have to come to us and say, okay, I'm ready, and it's going to be approved. So I'm really excited. Now, this is a 20-year plan.
I was just
this
going
is
to ask.
Like, don't think downtown Centennial's coming next year. It's not. I wish it was. It's, it takes a while to build things. Right. But you bring up another really good point. It's also like building materials, right? So the modular homes that they're building today are very different than what you think about a modular home is. And so we need to look at that. They actually do 3D printed houses, which are kind of fascinating. I've never actually been inside one. I've just seen pictures of it. So there's ways that we can make things more affordable. And then what we did in Centennial is we have now we have incentives for housing. We typically only did incentives for new businesses coming in. But this year, we added incentives for housing. And so one of the things I want to do as mayor is reach out to the development community and give it, a few months and go, okay, here's the incentives we came up with. Does this work? Does it match with what you need? Because we gave you a menu list of items that we think should work. But if we're not having those conversations, then we need to rethink what we're offering, right? So I want to make sure that we're reaching out to the development community to make sure. And I will just say, I jokingly said this last night, and I'm going to say it again today. If you're a developer, Centennial's open for business, right? Like, come on by. And then, we haven't even touched on the National Women's Soccer League coming here.
Right.
Which I am so thrilled about. And so I told you earlier that my husband and I met because of soccer.
Right.
So for 18 months, I was on an NDA. We couldn't talk about the soccer team coming to Centennial. My husband has coached soccer for 20 years. He now works for Colorado United Soccer. It's a recreation soccer club in a youth soccer club. Anyway, 18 months, couldn't tell him. Finally, I'd like sprinkle. Hey, have you looked to see the National Women's Soccer League? You guys should be following this. He came to the press conference and he told the owners, he's like, 18 months. Now I'm just wondering what else she hasn't told me.
Oh, no. That's impressive.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But so their state-of-the-art training facilities will maintain in Centennial. Right. Next March, they are kicking off in Centennial in a modular stadium. And then when Denver builds their permanent stadium, they'll move there. But then Cherry Creek Schools takes that over, and then high school sports gets to be played there. So it's a great private-public partnership. But that area now is ripe for redevelopment as well. Completely. Not just housing, but also economic drivers. Yeah. So even though we're very landlocked in, and it's not like we have a lot of green space, we can reimagine existing areas and places that we didn't think about before.
This is so exciting. I never heard the 20-year plan before today.
Yeah.
About having kind of a downtown feel. And I love the continuity that you're talking about, right? So it still has the charm and the eloquence that people love about Centennial.
Right.
To still have the parks and the recreation. I'm so excited to watch where that goes. And of course, the soccer stadium, my personal tie, of course, I didn't do soccer, I was more lacrosse, but I went to Cherry Creek High School. Right. And so to watch that blend, right? And you talk a lot about collaboration and partnership, and I'm with you on that 100%, that you have the private and public sectors coming together to make your city so much better and bring in more people, right? And it's to have the entire economy. I like that we are talking about it all as a whole, because it really is all encompassing, right? And again, to go back to the granular, this is where we work. This is where we live. And we drive every day. I mean, I know where every pothole is on every street that needs to be fixed. And I would love a downtown, where I grew up, and it was up north, but we didn't have a downtown. And, as we discussed off air, and I'm like, we need a downtown. Right. Because it brings people together. So I'm really excited to see where that goes.
Yes.
And we all care. Again, I love that it's not really a political debate. I mean, everyone should be thinking safety, schools, where do I work, how much income, and do I have affordable housing? Right. Like, that is just constantly. I'm glad that you're so active again in the community. To me, that speaks to me just more as woman to woman, person to person, of what you're doing in the city.
Right.
As you are having these conversations and getting people's opinions and having that candid conversation of what do you want next door?
Right.
How can you feel safer? Or
Right.
how is your property taxes doing? These are all, and they do affect us. And sometimes I feel, again, I'm going to be on my soapbox, that we get a little too nationalized, right? That
Right.
we are so glued to, yes, there is importance with that.
Right.
And to really care about where we are 99% of our lives
Right.
is where we live.
Exactly. And, to your point about potholes, like potholes aren't blue, they're not red. They just need to be fixed. and I'm going to tell you this, in Centennial, we have a My Centennial app. If you send us a picture or just tell us the street that the pothole is on, within 24 hours, we will fix that. We will fix that pothole, and it becomes a cost of living issue, right?
Okay.
Because if we fix that pothole, if we don't fix that pothole, then you might blow a tire. You might need a new alignment. That becomes a cost of living issue for you. So we will fix that pothole within 24 hours. You just have to tell us where it is, and we're out there fixing it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I did not know this within 24 hours.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
Right. Now,
okay.
and I want everybody, like, we brag about this. So test me on it. I'm maybe not on Saturday and Sunday, right? Because our crews, but we had a public works barbecue, and I sat with the A team. They're the asphalt team.
Okay.
And we were talking about it. They're very proud of the work that they do and the work that they do in our city. A couple of them actually live in Centennial, and it was great having lunch with them. But yeah, the A team will fix that pothole.
Is that across the state, or is this a Centennial?
No, this is a Centennial.
Centennial thing.
It has to be a Centennial road,
Okay,
right?
right.
So some of the roads are CDOT, like universities actually, Colorado Department of Transportation road.
Okay.
So it has to be a Centennial road.
Okay.
So your neighborhood streets and things like that. And the My Centennial app, it has a report a problem. It also has all kinds of great information. You can download it for your Apple or Android. So if you haven't already downloaded it, I highly encourage you to do that.
That is amazing.
Yes.
Okay. Well, people who live, I know our biggest following and listenership is here in Centennial.
Yay!
So I learned a whole bunch about Centennial.
Yay!
That look for the blue. Like I'm even sporting the blue today.
Yes.
So think blue Centennial. So when you see the blue street signs, you're legitly in Centennial.
Right.
And My Centennial app, I never knew that either.
Right.
To go on and report a pothole, and they
Yes.
have 24 hours and they're going to fix it.
Yeah.
Can we make that a Colorado thing?
That
would be lovely.
I'm just going to say Centennial is a very well managed city. There are our staff works really hard on your behalf every single day.
Yeah.
Your tax dollars are being very well spent, and they're very proud of the work that they do. So I wish that every other city and state and nation was as well managed as Centennial.
it's
We're very
amazing.
fortunate. Yes,
It's been wonderful, truly, to live here and to get to know people,
Right.
in not only the community, but on city council. It's been such a pleasure because it feels like you all have such a gel when you all work together. There's this open communication and kind of that collaboration. And the ultimate goal, right, is to make Centennial as best as it can be.
Right.
Which is amazing. I
Right.
think in some different cities, that's not always the case, but
Right.
Centennial really has that amazing feel to it.
Right. Yes.
So it is. It's fun to work here, fun to live here.
Yeah.
I'm now officially a resident of Centennial,
Yay!
which is amazing.
That is amazing.
4-ish months
Yay!
in.
We love that.
It's been a long time coming. So, and it's everything that you're talking about.
Right.
It's the kids, it's the family, I have a neighbor kid that's mowing my lawn.
Right.
And I know all these kids. They actually come over and borrow tools. I'm
Yes,
that's the
right.
type of place Centennial is.
So I gave you one of my friendship bracelets
You
this
did.
weekend.
How cute is that?
So this is there's a little disc. It's a 3D printed. And this weekend I said, "Oh, this kid in my neighborhood makes them for me." And he's like, "Oh, that's so cool. Like, how old is the kid?" I'm like, well, he's really not a kid anymore because he's actually a graduate student at the School of Mines and he's an electrical engineer. But I've known him since he was 9 years old. So
Right.
but that's the great thing about Centennial is people stay here. And so watching my kids and their friends grow up and to become these, these young adults and figuring out where they want to go in life. And a lot of them are back in Centennial because they can't afford to rent somewhere else, and so they're back in Centennial. And it's really great to watch that progression. And I'll just say, like, the kid that's mowing your yard today, like, it's going to be fun to watch him go. And then what's really nice is then your kiddo has somebody to look up to, and at some point we'll be the one mowing the yard and things like that. And that's sense of community. That's why I love living here.
I do too. I 100% agree with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know we tried to cover a whole bunch. I always feel like I need more time.
Right.
Are
we running? Because I have to mention my neighbor.
You have
Jay Green and Brake Signals, because you have had Brake Signals on your station. They are an amazing group. And these are those things in Centennial that we just don't even know are here, right? So Brake Signals is a bunch of guys that most of them live in my neighborhood that got together and started playing. And I highly recommend you go listen to them, that wherever they're playing next, follow them. But it's stations like yours that feature these Colorado musicians that give them a voice. And how lucky are we that you are based in Centennial and doing that?
It's amazing. Well, our president, Joshua, came up with this a couple years ago, and I loved it because it is so focused on community and to give people the platform where they never would have had it before. We love Brake Signals. We, of course, have a bunch of their music in our rotation. You're so dear to mention them, seeing them perform live. And that is truly like what I agree with completely about you and about our Centennial, about our state, is that it's so community oriented and we help support each other. And again, it's so interesting, unless we're in an interview, I'm like, I never really think on the political, are you red or blue? I love that you said potholes aren't red or blue, because they aren't.
Yes. Yeah.
Same thing across the board.
Right.
I'm going to use my dad's phrase because this has stayed with me for so many years. If we all do a little lifting, our world would be a better place.
Right.
No matter what. If someone, just go open the door for someone today, or reach out your hand, or ask them how they're doing today. It can go a long ways, because we have no idea what another person is going through. I have to tell myself, especially when I'm in a hurry, let the person get in front of me.
Right.
Because I have no idea what day that they're having.
Right.
So it's, again, the community aspect.
Exactly. And that's, and that's why I want to be mayor, is that I think I can make the community just a little bit better for the people who live here. And I hope that on Tuesday, November 4th, the people in Centennial agree with that and vote for me. But, really, we need people to vote. Like, we need people to really understand how important local elections are. And I will say, at the local level, we don't fundraise the money that we're not going to do ads on TV and things like that. Call me. Like, if you have a question about where I stand on something, my number, my email's on my website. I'm happy to talk to anybody. I was door knocking yesterday. There's a gentleman that he didn't agree with something that I want to have changed. And, we can be respectful and disagree. I don't know if he'll vote for me or not, but I'm willing to listen to him and understand why he doesn't see it the way that I do. That's okay. But if we can make just our corner of the community a little bit better, then I should do that. That's why I want to be mayor.
Completely.
Yeah.
Well, I so appreciate you coming on.
This has been so fun.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I get to sit on, I have the best job in the entire world. I get to have, people like you come in, and I get so educated and know what's going on in our backyard, essentially, which is so important.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Please go out and vote. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but please go out and vote. This is where your kids go to school. It's where you work. It's where you live. And truly, you spend most of your life right where you are. So it is so important. Again, so it's November 4th.
Tuesday, November 4th by 7 p.m. Yes. Okay. Yeah, and it's all the drop-off boxes. Wherever you dropped off your ballot last year, you can drop off this year. If you prefer to vote in person, those will be open. But mid-October is when ballots will start being mailed out.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds great. Anything that you wanted to make sure we touched on?
I really appreciate the time. I'm going to end with my vision for Centennial as mayor. I want to see Centennial being a safe city where neighborhoods matter, businesses are valued, and we create unique spaces for all to enjoy. And if I become mayor, I hope that becomes a reality. So I really do appreciate you guys having me on. So thank you. This is great.
It's been wonderful.
Yeah.
And for those of you, again, that did join late, this is going to be on Facebook for a full month. And it's forever on YouTube and forever on LinkedIn as well. So definitely go back. And it's so worth just hearing about what's going on in Centennial. Again, you can go to Sweetland it's FOR, centennial.com. And what's great about her website, not only do you get to know about her issues, endorsements, what she's doing in the community, but there's also a spot for you to register to vote. So no excuses.
That's right. And you
Make
can
sure
see
you're
my very
registered.
cute, handsome family.
Exactly. Like, know what's going on in your city. I mean, it's so important. Like, I just want to stress that so badly. I know we all care about the big global things, which we absolutely should, and also care about what's going on for local.
Right.
So again, sweetland4centennial.com, and you can contact her there and definitely ask questions. You know, I love that you're so open about that, because there are a lot of things I don't understand.
Right.
Or who owns what. And I learned about the Highline Canal. I had no idea about all of that. So
I know.
And
it's such a huge amenity for us.
Completely.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful asset for Colorado.
Yes.
It's incredible. Christine, we adore you.
Oh,
You're an
thank you
amazing
so
human
much.
being.
Yeah,
truly.
I can't wait to see you at the next thing.
I know. Well, I know we're all so busy out in the world all the time, and that's what we have to do, right?
Yes, exactly.
It's amazing. Well, thank you again for everyone tuning in, for listening, and for watching on K4CO Radio. We are super excited. We do celebrate our 2-year anniversary, and right next to 25th anniversary for wedding anniversary for Miss Christine. So all day on Thursday of this week, which is the 25th, and all day on Friday the 26th, we will be playing only Colorado musicians all day, which is pretty amazing. So definitely, again, this is our local world here in Colorado. So if you can listen in, that would be absolutely great to help support these incredible musicians. And please feel free to reach out if you'd like any more information about Christine. Again, it's Sweetland. centennial.com. I hope you all enjoy your wonderful Tuesday. You all take care.